So the Nutcracker had hanging from his wrist 7 golden crowns. He had defeated the Prince Mouse. And he held out his hand to Marie and he helped her up and he said, Marie, with your help, I have defeated the 7-headed mouse prince. And now come to my kingdom, Toyland, and come with me. So he said, it's right here inside the toy cabinet. And she said, well, I can't fit in the toy cabinet. He said, sure you can. And they went in, and there she was, small enough to fit inside her own toy cabinet. And when she went into the toy cabinet, well, it was a new world. It was a different world inside that toy cabinet. It was the kingdom of Toyland, where the Nutcracker was the king. And the streets were all made of peppermint, and the sidewalks were all lined with candy canes, and all the little houses were made of gingerbread with frosting and gumdrops all over them. And the dolls lived inside of these gingerbread houses. And it was just lovely there. And as they walked down the street, all of the dolls came out of their little houses to dance for Marie and the Nutcracker. The dolls from China, they danced for them, and the dolls from Arabia, they danced, and the Russian dolls, the dolls from Russia, they danced, and even the Sugar Plum Fairy herself danced for Marie and the Nutcracker. And they got to a lake, and there was a boat that was being pulled by dolphins. And I actually have a picture of it. And on the other side of the lake was the castle that Nutcracker lived in. And it was made of what was called marzipan, which is kind of like a candy, like a caramel kind of candy. And here's a picture of Marie and the Nutcracker on the boat being pulled by dolphins toward the castle in the kingdom of Toyland. And as they were going across the lake, Marie turned to the Nutcracker and said, Nutcracker, I don't know why Princess Parlapat was so mean. I would have loved you no matter what you looked like. And when she said those magical words, all of a sudden, everything started to shimmer and wave and kind of grow fuzzy. And she opened her eyes, and she was in her own bedroom, in her own bed, all by herself. And her mother walked in, and her mother said, good morning, Marie. It's time to get up. And she opened up the curtains, and the sun shone in. And she said, oh, Mother, I've just had the most wonderful dream. Oh, it was also a terrible dream because there was this war in the living room between the mice and the toys. Oh, and my poor Nutcracker, the mouse prince. Oh, he almost hurt my poor little Nutcracker. But then we went into the toy cabinet, into Toyland, the kingdom of Toyland. Oh, that was wonderful. And all the dolls danced for us. And her mother said, oh, Marie, it sounds like you had a wonderful dream, but it's time to get up. It's Christmas morning. And besides that, Godpapa Drosselmeyer is here. And he's downstairs in the kitchen with his nephew. And they want to meet you. And Marie went, oh, could it be? So she got up and she got dressed and she ran down the stairs and she ran through the living room. And as she was passing the toy cabinet, she looked in through the door to see if she saw her Nutcracker standing there. Do you think she saw him there? Do you think the Nutcracker was there? He wasn't there. The spell was broken. Remember, the Nutcracker could break the spell, but 2 things had to happen. Number 1, he had to defeat the 7-headed mouse prince, which Marie helped him to do by throwing the slipper. And someone had to love him, even though he looked that way. And when she said those magical words, I would have loved you no matter what you looked like, those magical words broke the spell. So he was no longer a Nutcracker, and he was standing in the kitchen waiting for Marie. And she ran into the kitchen, and there was Godpapa Drosselmeyer with his nephew. And The Nutcracker, the handsome young Nutcracker, said, "Marie, thank you for helping to break the spell. Now I would like to ask you to be my queen and rule with me always over Toyland, magical Toyland." And she said yes. And when they were old enough, they did get married. And she is the queen, and he is the king, and they still rule over Toyland today. And let's see. And here's a picture of their crowns. And there are some gingerbread people waving. So happy to have the Nutcracker and Marie as their king and queen. And that's the end of the story. And when Tchaikovsky read that story and closed it up, he said, "Boy, I could make a great ballet out of that story," which he did. And he wrote music for it. And he wrote music for the party scene. And I'd like you to hear, you did hear the music of the party scene in video 1, but I'm going to show you that again. And I want you to hear each part of the story. So let me turn that on. So this is the music you would hear at the party, the Christmas party in the beginning of the story. Here you see Marie and Fritz opening up the door to the living room to find a Christmas tree and people giving gifts and dancing around. Now, this next piece is from the March of the Toy Soldiers.